Welcome back to Decentralized Nutrition in the lens and context of inaccessibility. This is a vlog self-journaling series whereby we'll be talking and addressing this author within first-person perspectives about this author's decision to take the Novavax vaccine, in which it has finally arrived in Australia. So, to do a bit of introduction, my name is Andrew and I am the proprietor, designer and conceptor behind this concept initiative, 5 years and ongoing. Throughout its long struggle since 2014 and all the way to this day, amidst nutritional science, decentralized within context of economics and inaccessibility. This is going to be the first day of the vlog, accounting the various side effects, if any, surrounding the recent vaccinations that I myself have actually undergone, finally, as such Novavax have finally arrived in Australia. So we're going to go through this bit by bit. When was the vaccination taken? It was done today, 21st of February, 2022. Monday at 2:15 p.m. So far to say, so far so good. There seems to be no side effects. However, except one hint of a slightly worrisome, well, actually two points that needs to be raised upon here, and that is with the fact that going back with the current legislation and code of practice surrounding within Australia, should readers and viewers who are actually watching this from elsewhere, as such that beware, as such that Australia is one of the many countries that they do not actually practice aspiration. Now, this is I actually have been very adamant to inform and to kindly request any pharmacies whom I've been calling around to see if I can actually make the same booking on this very same day to see if they actually practice aspiration. And unfortunately, it is very sad to say that much practice is not practiced at all in Australia, because the only reason that I actually received was that, we do not practice such aspiration. It is all part of so-called government, quote-unquote, government training. Of course, we shall take all these things with a grain of salt. However, keeping that in mind, with the extreme authoritarian coercive mandates that is happening in Australia, and in particular Western Australia, we are increasingly left with no choice but to comply nevertheless. So that's one disadvantage to keep in mind. And another disadvantage is that there is actually one side effect in which it may not be concerning, but there is around about 2 or 3 hours mark a case of tinnitus or ear-ringing symptoms that actually lasted, thankfully, only once, one event that lasted for 30 seconds. So that is that to keep in mind. Unfortunately, since Novavax is still, even though that technically speaking it should be available all over Australia right at this point, however, not all chemists, not all doctors, and not all GPs, pharmacists, and the like are actually ready to schedule such deployment for administration for all states. So, hence, that just comes as a disclaimer to keep in mind. I myself am a cycle keto plus intermittent fasting practitioner for 5+ years. I'm very diligent when it comes to using the right supplementations and to make sure that all my fasting windows are taken place from midnight onwards until the very next evening window of the very first sipping or the breaking the fast event at somewhere around about 8 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. and begins the feeding window from there, no more than 2 or 3 hours, and repeat the fasting window from there onwards. First things first, I actually started the day with just with the usual standard procedures of soda, water, bicarbonate soda, and plenty of salt, of course, since we are actually entering our awakened fasting window from morning onwards until the late evenings. So that's that, and keeping it to say no more than 1.5 cups of coffee, because once again, since the appointment actually took place at 2:30 p.m. today, so hence there must be some scheduling that needs to be respected beforehand. So that's that. And also a couple of important regimen here is to still upping up the potassium regimen, in which pinches of cream of tartar into the coffee, into the 1.5 cups of coffee. And then also, as for vitamin D supplementation, I actually am using the Doctor's Best brand, in which there is 5,000 IU, and I pierced open the capsule and then just rub it along my wrists, and that's that, leaving it completely absorbed via the topical route as opposed to swallowing them in. So that's that. And also, finally, as a little bit of a precautionary measure, just a tiny bit of aspirin. So all of these precautionary measures were actually taken place around about 1.5 to 2 hours before the administration event begins. Thankfully, there seems to be no metallic aftertaste or chemical aftertaste that some people may actually experience, in which if such is the case, please, I would actually personally encourage you or any other such unfortunate readers and viewers who are actually expressing such symptoms to nevertheless file a report right away, file a complaint right away. This is such is not to be anticipated because, and also considering that the aspiration technique is not under any practice, under nursery practice at all throughout Australia. So your scientific autonomy and health is at stake. So please do everything it takes to inform your pharmacist, take their details, whatever details you can get, and file a report right away. Should any adverse effects and or symptoms do arise, especially when it is suspiciously deemed as within the period of immediately after the injection and or any other hours afterwards. So please make every effort to defend yourself. Make a defensive statement. First day, 21st of February, 2022, first dose, which is marked as 0.5 dose as registered in the system, actually went well for the Novavax, and there seems to be no harmful side effects per se, other than just one brief hint of tinnitus or ear ringing symptoms taking place around about 1.5 to 2 hours post injection and or post administration wise. Such an event, however, could and may yet be attributed to the usage of aspirin. However, the amount of aspirin actually taken alongside with the coffee is actually not very lot. It was just a surface bite to make sure that there is some, again, just an anti-inflammatory contingency and insurance in the case should and if the worst thing to happen, should the worst may yet happen, in which thankfully nothing happened so far. So signing out, this is just the very first of the vlog self-journaling event surrounding the Novavax vaccine, in which it is very new. Still, again, we shall debate this endlessly, such that yes, it still remains experimental, but nevertheless, it's a good sign that I'm not experiencing dangerous and or very significant side effects that may warrant a serious inquiry. So once again, thank you for watching, and please feel free to comment your thoughts down below. Should you and or any other viewers who are based in Australia to please share with us what you've been experiencing through, and whether or not you are actually coming from Pfizer or any other vaccine. It'll be interesting to see if you are actually taking Novavax for the very first time. Please let us know down in the comment section below. And thank you once again for partaking in the discussion amidst the internationally visited independent thoughts in wellness and decentralized nutrition. Live it forward, and thank you for watching.